Hello, welcome to another Gundam version 2 video, and that is the GP02 BB, the other variant of the GP02, the other one being the MLRS, and welcome to another buffed or scuffed. If you guys aren't familiar with the series, basically the devs will do something at the end of every month, where they'll do something called unit adjustments. Suits old or new will get buffed depending on, I guess, what the devs feel like, and seeing as the Zaka Mariner still isn't buffed, hey, at least the CBT is, though, the gem, Corvette booster flight type. We're not here to talk about that, right? We're here to talk about the GP02. And the GP02, I chose this suit because we already did the GP01, and that buff was really great for that suit. So, and I believe the GP02 was buffed beforehand, where something to do with beam bazooka, something along those lines. It's been a while. People really like the buff, and well, the suit needed a buff again. And I do have two matches here for you. They're both going to be on the same kind of map. It's going to be Arctic base and raiding. And the reason I believe these are one after another. And the reason for that is because I've been playing a lot more matches beforehand with some friends, but I wasn't doing too hot because latency was really screwing me over. It was kind of upsetting because the GP02 does have a lot of great things going for it. But kind of sucks when you do a downswing on a support and then the support does his downswing, and somehow the support's downswing connects, but yours doesn't. It's like, okay, well, I'll take it as a hint to not play raids today. So I waited a little bit, and oh, hey, yeah, you know what, I kind of felt like playing GP02 today. And yeah, I got some pretty decent matches, and you can tell I'm very cautious playing this suit. I mean, first of all, I always say this whenever there's a raid gameplay. I'm not a raid player, and like I said, latency was really screwing me over, so you'll notice that I'm playing pretty safe when it comes to approaching people. You'll notice I'll get a stun. I'll usually use Vulcans afterwards because I'm afraid if I go in for a melee, they're going to either out priority me or just they're going to pull a tackle out. Maybe even maybe even after I do my melee swing, start boosting way. That's happened plenty of times. So it's not going to be the most aggressive style gameplay, right? It's going to be a little bit more safe. And we only dealt with one support in these two matches. It's Arctic base, but but yeah. So the GP02 was not in a worse position than the GP01. Obviously, like I said before, the GP01 was buffed, and it was a very good buff. People really enjoyed it, and now people were biting their lips, salivating at the mouth to wait for the GP02 to get buffed. And yeah, looking at before we get to what exactly got buffed, let's look at the win rate and all that good stuff for this suit. Now, this is a 550 raid, and the win rate for this suit was 47.5. So already starting off a little bit low here. Some suits get buffed when they're at 48%, right? So this is already below that, what typically would get buffed. But the rival win rate was 46.6, compared to the 49.5, and the damage dealt was just a bit below, where the average was 74,000. This suit had a 66,000. Now 600. The average win rate for a raid was 51.1. This suit still had a 47.9, so technically it went up. And for 650, it was 49.9. This suit had a 48.2, so it goes up again. Honestly, I can probably attribute that to overtune parts, maybe. I know I've been using overtune parts for whenever I pick the BB at higher cost, and it does work out really well. But then there's a big drop-off here. The drop-off here is at 700. Well, I think we all know why it's 700 previously, before 700 should start getting buffed, right? But yeah, this suit was hanging around unicorns, and yeah, average win rate for a raid was 48.6. This suit had a 45.2, so that was not very good at all. Obviously, the rival win rate was 48.6, and this had a 34.6. Obviously the suit was suffering at the really high cost, but still, you need help at its own cost, and a little bit above that. So yeah, we decided to, I personally decided we needed to buff this, and I told the devs. No, the devs decided to buff this. So let's go ahead and look at what they did just with the suit itself. Now, first of all, they increased the range attack from 30 to 35, so obviously that is pretty good for, for the beam bazooka. It does good chunking damage, right? So obviously you'll do more range damage just initially, and that does go up in cost as well. So if you're at 600, that'll obviously be bumped up and so forth, right? So and if you're doing kind of a range build, obviously it's going to be very well worth it. You'll see during these matches I'll be getting casual just over 3,000 damage. And of course, if you're getting the heavy stagger, that's 3,000 damage plus a heavy stagger. Then you can go into your melee, which is pretty nice, right? So definitely pretty good starting off right there. And well, the suit now has flat booster level 1, and this was also applied to the MLRS as well. And if you guys don't know what flat booster is, basically that is what the Zekuines and the S Gundam have. Oh, and the I believe it started off with the Shazar team, Jesta A, or Team A Jesta Shazar, and basically it is a different kind of flight type where instead of having to press the touchpad to activate a flight mode, you actually initiate flight by already boosting, and then you hold the jump button, whatever your jump button is, and you'll start floating upwards. Now this does take it does consume your thruster gauge a lot, so it's not going to be you're not going to be flying around constantly with it, right? It's going to be helpful for, I think you'll notice in the first match where I'll use it to reposition myself or maybe chase somebody who's in a different position where I can kind of get to them easier, right? So helpful for those kind of situations, especially with a suit like the GP02, where a lot of people, I'm not sure how many people are doing this often nowadays, but back then whenever I was seeing the GP02, a lot of people like to fly in the air and shoot at people with the beam bazooka, so maybe the flat booster will be a easier version of doing that, right? So who knows? To help with this, like that jumping in the air I mentioned, they also gave this flight control program level 3, and the upper levels are also enhanced to, I believe, have that as well. So obviously you can do, I believe with 3, there's less thruster consumption when you're boosting in the air, I believe. If not, it does allow you to do other stuff in the air. I believe you can jump and you can boost, obviously. So that's pretty nice for the GP02 to have. Again, like I said, people were doing that with the GP02, so they decided to make that easier for them. So good, especially with having the flat booster. You know, it takes less thruster gauge in case you had to swap courses, right? If you're charging towards somebody, oh hey, enemy team, time to turn back, right? Next thing here is this is mostly this level 4 stuff now. The level 4 unit HP was increased from 20,000 to 22,000, which, just plus 2,000 damage. More health is nice. Obviously, if you're at 700, it's probably going to need that for a suit that doesn't have a dodge roll. If you guys aren't aware, GP02 doesn't have a dodge roll. They also gave this the level 4 unit skill, maneuver armor level 3. They changed that to level 4. I believe that is minus 30% or 30% less damage, minus 30% less damage whenever you're boosting. And obviously I think that also applies with stun accumulation. Is also going to take more, I believe, to stun you, somewhere along those lines. So yeah, that's actually pretty decent, having minus 30% less damage done to you whenever you're boosting around. Combine that with your big shield, you can be pretty tanky. But obviously you're still at 700, and again, there's a lot of deadly suits at that cost. So who knows? I haven't got a chance to play it at 700. I've only been playing around native, so who knows if that's going to be a really amazing kind of setup for this suit. Although obviously having less damage on you is better overall, so obviously that's really good. But yeah, now we're on to the weapons for this suit that got buffed. The range weapon here, the GP02A beam bazooka. The heat rate was shortened from 90% to 80%. That is really helpful, of course, for just your shooting. It's a heat-based weapon. You don't want to. You have more time to not overheat the weapon. I believe if you noticed I think it might have been particularly the first match. There's a lot of situations where if I would have shot my bazooka again, it would have been an overheat. But because it does have shorter heat rate, I can fire my beam bazooka, a lot more often. And this does coincide with the next 2 buffs, actually the next 3 buffs here, where the cooldown time is shortened from 7 seconds to 5.5 seconds. That's a decent 2.5 seconds, I believe, where after you fire beam bazooka, you have to wait a shorter amount of time before you can fire it again. That helps it be more consistent. That's really great, especially if you're going to go at higher costs, where some suits have really low cooldown time, right? The focus time was also shortened, your charge time for your beam bazooka. It went from 8 seconds to 5.5. That's a pretty good chunk there of, you don't have to wait as long to get a heavy stagger. That makes the suit infinitely more consistent now for getting the heavy stagger and going, obviously into combos and all that. The weapon switching time is also shortened. This is also really great, where let's say you're doing you're starting off your Vulcans first. Maybe they're a little bit far away, or you don't want to go into melee. You're not comfortable in melee. Well, hey, you can just swap right to your bazooka, and since the bazooka has a shorter weapon switching time, well, you can just immediately fire it. That's pretty good. All these really help out the suit to be a little bit more consistent with its stuns and with the beam bazooka, right? You don't have to rely on the Vulcans as much. Even though the Vulcans are still really good in the suit. In fact, they're so good they actually didn't even get buffed. The only other thing here was the beam saber. And yeah, the high output beam saber, the power was increased from 2,700 to 2,800, so just a little bit more damage. And that also increases the higher you go in cost. And the downswing compensation attack, I believe that just means the damage is a lot better for the downswing. And when I say the damage is better, I mean the damage is a lot better. I'm talking like 10k downswings to supports. You can do pretty much a heavy attack to supports, which is amazing. I think I'll see if I can get some of Taru's videos, and I'll put them in the description if you guys want to check him out. He's a lot better at playing GP02 than I am. And yeah, he can do some gross damage just going up to supports, and obviously that also helps out against generals as well. You'll be doing more damage. You'll notice that I'll be doing 4,000 damage downswings on some of the generals during these matches. And the thing is, I'm not even using a melee build for this suit. I'm using a defense build for these two matches, like 47 beam and 47 something melee resistance, right? So that is pretty good. I'm still getting some pretty good damage out of this. So if I would have done a full melee build, or at least focused around that, yeah, I would have been really making people feel that. So so yeah, to say if the GP02 is buffed or scuffed, yeah, I'm definitely going to go with buffed here. Just the fact that his beam bazooka was buffed as it is really helpful. It really helps the GP02 feel really consistent in terms of you know, getting damage out and stunning people. That really helps it for chasing supports. You know, it doesn't have to rely on the Vulcans all the time. You know, you can shoot the beam bazooka at least once, or at least charge fast enough to get that heavy stagger, and then go in for melee. And then, hey, if they do a dodge roll, maybe you can follow up another beam bazooka, or maybe just your Vulcans, then another beam bazooka shot, right? It helps lock down a lot easier for the suit. Especially now that downswing is now more damage. What's my dog barking at? What the hell? But yeah, the downswing also does a lot more damage. It helps it just, again, more damage. If that's not obvious. And I believe, yeah, all the other changes with the suit, where now it has flat booster. Like I said, flat booster is really helpful for changing your position regarding, you know, depending on the map, right? Where you saw an Arctic base where if I'm getting chased, I can easily reach a ramp without having to, or ramp a rail without having to go up the ramp. The enemy team will have to waste boost getting up there. I mean, obviously I have to waste a little bit of boost getting up to where I am, but that's still a pretty safe position to be in. And, you know, if there's a suit on top of a tower, I can technically fly up there. You know, I don't have to bother with trying to jump up there, right? I can get there faster. Really good for changing positions. Really helpful for some maps like, again, you know, I said you saw Arctic Base, but also City Ruins. City Ruins is notorious for a lot of flat booster suits just getting around really easily. So I imagine it's going to be really great there. And the thing is, the MLRS, I believe, also has the skill now, so that's really good for supports to change positions like that. Really great. It's more of a utility tool than just helping you get around for or helping you for attacking, I should say, compared to the other flight types, right? I do wish the suit still, for how much people like to play with this in the air, I do think aerial melee would have been really interesting to have on the suit. Imagine just flying up to somebody and then doing your downswing. However, I just wish aerial melee was on a lot of more suits, honestly. I think the suit would have been fun to have that on, you know, especially, again, like I said, people like to do stuff with the beam bazooka in the air. Imagine flying up to somebody with flat booster, beam bazooka, and then just aerial melee downswing. But yeah, again, to say it's buffed or scuffed, definitely the GP02, I say, again, is very much buffed. Very good buffs here, and there are a few things here to help out the level 4, but honestly, level 4 is probably still going to suffer just because of how antiquated the suit is compared to what's at 700. 700 has a lot of crazy suits, you know, 650 suits that go to 700 and just 700 native. And of course, you know, if you have some level 3 suits going in there as well. And so The GP02 does have a benefit of having that really meaty shield, but obviously there's going to be moments where you're not going to get hit in the shield. You're just going to get dumped on by unicorn units or whatever else got buffed at 700. But you know, it's nice that they did consider it anyway. Maybe it is better. Again, I haven't tried it much at 700. I've been staying around the native and 600 cost, and of course I saw Taro playing around. I believe he even played some 650. Again, I'll leave a match or two in the description. You guys can check him out and see how good it does. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe if you want. I'd really appreciate it. And you know, type up in the comment section how you feel about the GP02 BB. Do you like it? Do you hate it? And you know what? I'll throw in the MLRS in there as well. I do enjoy. I actually really did enjoy playing the BB just as a random pick every now and then. I think I even have a few streams, like a 1 or 3, where I picked the BB at a high cost. I actually did really well with it. The shield, if you can position yourself right, the shield can help you tank a lot of damage. The only sucky part is that you don't have a dodge roll, which is can fuck you over at high cost, especially, you know, again, 700. But overall, I think it's I think you can do really well with this if you're a raid player. Obviously, you get the heavy stagger on the suit, and it doesn't overheat your beam bazooka, so you can just charge a heavy stagger, get one, go for melee, and then you can back off, and then, you know, eventually you can just charge another one without having to wait for overheat, and then shoot that again. So, and of course other stuff as well. The Vulcans are still really good on this suit. I'm pretty sure they changed the GP01's Vulcans to be more like the GP02's, and it's funny because the MLRS also has those same Vulcans, and the MLRS, I'll probably have a regular video on the MLRS soon enough. I won't do a buff or scuff on that one, but yeah, that'll be it, and hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I'm not sure what I'll go for next for buff to scuff. I think I will go ahead and go for the Methus Kai, because I know that one interested a lot of people, and I was on a stream. We did some spectator matches, and yeah, what I saw was very impressive with the Methus Kai, so probably be that one next. And yeah, that'll be it. Bye.